I said I'm going to do it. I don't care. I would work for the money.
I was always surrounded by men, and at some point you get used to it. And
Now, it's not the muscles, right? It's the brain.
women are naturally great organizers. They're good.
It was such a shame, like people would not really accept it, but I did it.
And I think we inspire each other. Even I feel like having man and woman in the workout is like yin and yang, right?
And we say, no, I can do this. Give me the opportunity to go there and do it.
Welcome to the talk. I'm your host, Usi, and I have two beautiful guests with me, Sarah Abuagela and Lubna El Bannan, two important women in tech. And today we are talking about women in tech. Lubna, you come from a very interesting background. You are a single mom, raising a beautiful daughter, and being an inspirational entrepreneur. I wanted to know more of your story. Growing up, did you have any role model in your society where you come from? And also, what do you think, how you are serving as a role model to the young women in this country and especially to your young daughter?
So first, thank you for having me, Vugar. It's such a pleasure. I do come from a society that is male dominant. I am Egyptian, so we're very used to back in the days. Now, definitely it has changed. But back in the days, we're very used to having only male and very few female figures working. But I think if I go back and I look at my family, I would say my grandma would be my role model. She raised up 4 kids. She was working and she ran different businesses. She was taking care of the kids, the family, the house, the schools, and so on. And I think she was doing really well. I always looked up at her and I thought she was one of the motivational people and the woman that has inspired me in my life. I mean, being career-driven woman has started, I believe, in the second year of college. So I actually started working when I was in the second year of college. And so many people do not know this. My first job actually was a sales representative in one of the garments brands stores in Alexandria, Egypt. And it was such a shame at that time to be coming from good school and a proper society and then, just standing there and selling garments and clothes. It was such a shame, like people would not really accept it, but I did it. And I think
was it more shame because of it was earning money was not like a female job, or was it shame that your family couldn't provide you enough that you have to work? What was a kind of backstory? Why was it such a taboo for women to work?
I think it was more of in our society, if women specifically do not hold good positions or good career-driven position, it was meant to be that you're not coming from a very good society, and it could be a shame within this community or society. And it is a taboo, like you said, because at the end of the day, we see a lot of men and women as well traveling to the States, traveling to Europe and working in the summer while they're at 16, 17 years old and earning money. They're just washing dishes. But when we come back and we see these people doing the same thing in our community and society and countries, it becomes a shame. And I don't get it. Why, right? So at that time, I said I'm going to do it. I don't care. I would work for the money. Though my parents, I do come from a good family. My parents did support me well financially. But I mean, who doesn't love money? I would get more. At that time, I remember it was in 2005 or 6, and I used to earn 1,000 Egyptian pounds, and this was like good money. Like people would graduate from engineering or from proper university, and they would earn the same. So I did it, and I did it for the number one, the confidence, the communication that I've learned, the negotiation skills that I've learned, so many things that I've learned just to be standing there as a saleswoman and convincing people to buy from a store was such a good experience, honestly.
Lubna's granny was like running this big family of 4 kids and businesses. Like, Sarah, when did you start earning money? And as a woman in investment sphere, especially investing in Web3 ventures, like, what do you think, are the women good in juggling many things, especially in the entrepreneurship? Like, what is your trust into female entrepreneur versus male entrepreneur?
It's interesting. I can resonate a lot with Lubna. Like, I moved out of my parents' home when I was 17, and I started working and studying at the same time. And for me, as an Arab woman growing up in Germany, it was very normal that you start to learn to be independent by yourself. And I think the beauty, what I see also by other female entrepreneurs in my environment, is the hustle, like to really gain more knowledge and to upgrade your skill set. Even when I jumped into blockchain back then in 2018, I just learned trading by myself. Like, I learned about Bitcoin, but I also tried to reach out to the right community and right people to get into that, and having really this eagerness, curiosity to learn more. This is what I find is so important. And also for female entrepreneurs, I think it's so important to have, of course, your own drive, but of course to get also inspired by role models in your direct work environment, in your family, really have this inspiration. I think that's so important. But to your question, I think women are naturally great organizers. They're good in conflict management. There's so many good things also jiggling around between work and private life. So I think these are very...
I was recently looking at the statistics, and apparently like firms that are led by women are very good at operational expenses and actually saving, and companies that had female leaders during the pandemic did better than the male led companies. And I think like one thing is like when you have like a female venture, and we were discussing it behind the scenes today, how important it is to have diverse founders or diverse leadership in any organization you have invested. Do you have any like strategy in your mind whenever you go into this like a pitching, or how do you scout the project, and does that diversity is like, what is the priority when you look at like where that diverse or female leadership stay in your priority list when you are investing?
Yeah, the great thing is in the Web3 space, when I'm in pitch calls, I see there's a change actually in the level of diversity we see in the founding team and the core team. Like already statistics also say from the crypto users, compared to 2021, only 21% were actually female crypto users, and now it's like 39%. So we already see an increase, and the same is also actually in the team setup of projects. So we see much more also female co-founders or being in the core team. So it's great as a VC to see that diversity already. But of course, to look at the facts, Web3 space, it's still male dominated. I mean, currently 13% of the founders are female. So I think there's still a lot of work to do. And yeah, Lubna, even would be interesting for you also to hear. How is it for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we came a long way, though. I don't want to be offensive. We did.
There's nothing wrong with being offensive, I think.
We did come a long way. I mean, looking at technology and digital specifically, which is where I work or I focus in the business. It was definitely so male dominated previously, and now we're seeing the change. But you're also seeing the change of the advancements and the growth in the digital and the technology, because Of so many things. Number one, I think women do have different emotional intelligence I would say it different than male. I wouldn't say better. I would say different. And at the end of the day, when speaking about women, we say we don't compete with each other, we complete each other. But when you, for example, give a piece of data and give it to a male and a female and look at how both read the data and both analyze the data, you would absolutely see a huge difference between the analysis. I mean, we always do this joke, right? And we always do this joke and we say like FBI really needs to have more women because women could get any piece of information online in a second.
Yeah,
like give me the name, I'll give you the entire history of everyone's family, the family tree. So we're seeing this actually in action as well. Looking also at today, the female users in the technology field, digitally or social media, or even in Bitcoin, there's so many users that are female today. If you don't have the female talents in your company to cater for the female users' needs and mindset, you're not going to go anywhere. You're not going to grow. So again, looking at where we stand today in our digital landscape, I've been seeing a lot of female that really hold proper positions and big positions in company, looking at them working as in the UI, in the UX, in the functionalities, in the testing, even developing webs or developing mobile apps. And you see a complete different change, and you do see functionalities that did not come into males' mind before, but they are introducing new ideas, new opportunities, and new growth to the business as well.
That's very true. Recently, I saw this image on social media. It was like this beautiful staircase, like full made of glass. And I really was like admiring, wow, it's so beautiful. Then I randomly started reading the comments, and a lot of women wrote that most probably in architecture or design team didn't have any women because glass staircase is such a discomfort for women because of the dress and so on. And that gave me this idea that it's very important to have diversity because there are things that one party may not able to see and realize that others do. And Sarah, we were also like talking about this, and also you mentioned several times on your conference panels how new technologies, especially like blockchain, changes women's life in terms of the user's perspective, not only the women who develop and build this technology, but also like how end users' life is changed through this.
The great thing is in blockchain that I always find so impressive, the core of its principle is that enables everyone can enter the space. It doesn't matter where you are. It's like really this concept of decentralization. So it doesn't matter what is your background, what is your wealth status at that point, you can enter the space. And I have to say, really, blockchain also investing into cryptocurrency or startups, like it's a great way to tap into wealth creation for women. So even if you want to invest into crypto, you can tap into it easier. Like it's made easier. And I think wealth creation is one thing, but also if you have already that entrepreneurial spirit, you're innovative, there's so many opportunities lying in the space. But one thing I think I want to highlight is the aspect of confidence. So on the one hand, you as a woman to have the confidence to go and to tap into the technical space, not being afraid of, okay, maybe I'm not the expert right now, but also the confidence of the ones which are in the hiring process, which are in the fundraising process, having the confidence in the female founders and the female applicant in coding. So there are a lot of career opportunities in blockchain and also wealth creation opportunities.
And Lubna, you came to Dubai for a success story. I think Dubai is one of these places where everyone comes with these big hopes that you can self-create. How was that journey as a woman moving from your home country and being literally alone and starting something from zero? Like, wasn't it hard?
It was. I can't say anything else. I mean, it was during the Egyptian Revolution, and the status in Egypt wasn't really very good. And I was struggling living there because I did have an accident there, and I was not fine at all. While this happened, I did get an opportunity to come and work here for an events management and an advertising agency. And I thought this was a great opportunity. And I spoke to, at that time I was married, and I spoke to my husband, and my daughter was, I think, 10 months. And I said, listen, I have an opportunity in Dubai, and it's, the dream come true to everyone. So I want to go. And at that time, he could not move from Egypt. He did have some obligations and responsibilities and his own company there. But then we spoke about it, and he was supportive enough to tell me, well, I can't hold you back from such an opportunity. Go. And when I came to Dubai, I remember I was super lost because it was only me and my daughter. She was 10 months, and I had to figure out where do I live, finish up my visa, my papers, my daughter's visa as well, and put her in the nursery while I work till 5, and then pick her up, and then, put her to bed. So there was so many responsibilities, and things were super dynamic. And the nature of living in Dubai is completely different than Egypt. It took me a while to adapt as well. But now I look back into this and I say, I think this was one of the best decisions I've ever done, because Dubai is a gate of opportunity. It's not only about the lifestyle and the business environment that you live in, but there's so many opportunities for women here that they could step in and rise and shine. And I think Dubai is one of the very few countries that really support women to be in the top of the line and have real career opportunities.
We all have lived in Dubai for so long, but I believe that no matter like how great things are, still Dubai is also like a very male-dominant place. Even like population-wise, like males are several times more than the female population of this city. Like, so have you ever felt alone, especially like being a woman, being in tech scene, like especially if the topic is not woman in tech, it's like ordinary day. I know that you have almost most of your colleagues are male, especially in investment. Like how do you feel? Like, do you feel lonely? Do you feel alone? Do you feel empowered, like as a single voice, or how do you feel?
I think it's a matter of perspectives. Like, even ever since I started my career, I was always surrounded by men. And at some point you get used to it, and at some point you want to adapt yourself to them as well, to this kind of masculine energy as well. But I think it's how you use your environment. For me, I have to say, I actually was really inspired by my male colleagues. Also, currently, my boss and also the founder of our firm is my mentor. So I try to learn from my male peers. And the good thing is, I have to say, now in tech, more and more women get the chance that their voices are heard. So in terms of conferences, that you get much more speakers. So I have to say, you're somehow a loner as a female representative in your field, but it's all about what you do out of that opportunity. And I have to say, in the tech space, it's really evolving.
And what about recently I was talking to my mom about like human rights, because my mom is a psychologist, professor she is, and we were discussing this topic, and we stumbled upon this very interesting thing that the human rights are human rights, but there are specific things that are like women's right, like becoming a mother, or certain needs that doesn't kind of touch men, but do really influence women's life and women's life choices, being as a mother or being as a sister, or especially in the Middle East, representing the family and all these values. Were any case in your career that you will look from a lens that, okay, I am a woman and that's what I want to stand for? Or as in maybe making an investment decision? I know that like Lubna has this beautiful daughter and she's a great football player, and Lubna supports her in such a Because like when you think of football, it's like such a male thing, right? I know that there are like very strong women's teams and championships, but we've seen football as a male industry.
Yeah, true. So I was even surprised. So I think it came from different backgrounds. Number one, for me personally, working out and exercising is essential on a daily basis for me, even if I'm going to take a walk. But I do also focus on my fitness, because I do believe it helps on my mental health as well. And I think my daughter got this from me. So there's a very big responsibility on females and mothers, and specifically that they have to also take care of themselves and make sure that they are physically strong and make sure that they are active, because this impacts the kids. So when I started working out, only then my daughter would look at me and say, well, yeah, I want to go to the gym, or I want to do swimming, or I want to do tennis, or I want to do, and she started evolving and trying different sports. And then she did focus on football, and surprisingly that she was really accelerating in this. And in 2 years in a row, she's been awarded as the player of the year in her school. She does now play under the name of her school. She represents her school in football. And as much as it is a male dominant sport, I believe women are doing great. And nowadays you see even matches happening and fixtures between girls and boys together, and you see girls performing really well. And this makes me really proud.
I think women must be very strong in like a teamwork.
I think it's the strategy as well, because now it's not the muscles, right? It's the brain. So the strategy of how they play together, you would see it. You would see how boys would like run, and push here and there, but then you would also see how the girls would just pass the ball like that and move, So it's also strategies, and I think this is exactly what we need in our community and in our business landscape. Both powers together would really get us a long way, right?
And Sarah, you grew up with like 3 elder brothers in a family. Like, do you have any strategy of like managing boy band?
True story. Yeah, it's I have to say, the good thing is like you learn from them. So to understand, put yourself in their shoes, but also make clear how you feel. I think it's the same also in the work environment. Like, I think it's that matter of what you mentioned earlier, Lubna, of emotional intelligence and also having empathy. So understanding everyone's point of view. And this is how you can manage. Even this is how I managed my brothers at home. Like, I understood, I learned from them as well, but I also made sure they know, okay, at the end, I'm not part of the boy gang. I'm also still Sarah. So I think it's really having this understanding and knowing that everyone is different, but still, if you work together, what you said, as a teamwork, being inclusive, then you can really create something. And
I think between lines, you touch a very important point about like setting the boundaries and
exactly,
telling like, okay, this is like my area. This is me being Sarah. I'm not part of your boy gang or boy band. How does that reflect in a business? Are you able to put that line at the workplace?
It's interesting. I have to say, I faced sometimes situation in my career where sometimes you're the only one, and you get this kind of reaction from the company. Oh, you're representing, for example, now for the investment, the company, or you're having that position. But I realized and I learned it's all about trusting your competencies. Like, you trust yourself, and with that, you also make the other counterpart convinced about your competencies. That's why I think it's really important to keep that confidence, because that will really empower you in that situation.
Like, do you think like it takes an extra effort for women to like kind of prove that I am worth it, or this investment decision I am backing is like the right one? Or how does that happen? Or like, do you think your colleagues will trust you because, okay, she knows better, or like how did you earn that confidence through the time, or maybe like even at the university? Because when I was at the university, there was this beautiful professor, and he told us in his class he wanted the first answer to the question done by females, because apparently that brings the audience interaction between men and women around to 50%. If men start talking, then that number goes 70% pro men and only 30% women participate in a class. And how does that happen in your industry, in tech industry?
I think here again, knowledge is really power. Like if you know what you can contribute, if you learn on the job, and even for me, it was really learning by doing to get better on the decisions, on scouting of investments, to get the industry insights. And that is how I was proving myself and getting to where I am right now. I think it's really to keep working on yourself and your skills. I truly believe that.
I think like having an access to workplace or industry is very important. And Lubna was mentioning a very important point that when she started working, she learned how to negotiate better deals. And it's not a secret that in the industry, women are not as powerful negotiating better salaries for them or better deals even in between the investors and themselves. Lubna, you're an entrepreneur, you're a woman entrepreneur who runs a company. Do you think like you are doing good deals, or do you think you are a better negotiator, or you think you just do a lot of favors on top?
Well, I do all. All of the above. Well, yeah, I believe, yes, I do have good negotiation skills. It's more about a couple of things. As Sarah said, the knowledge that you have. This is number one. Number two, it's more about credibility, because the years of experience that you've been working, you do have proven records of success. And when you put this success on the table and tell clients, this is what we did, this is what we got, this is the results, then client starts to listen to you and have more credibility and trust you more. It's also about the confidence, and I love this because it's so tricky to just have confidence out of nowhere. It doesn't happen to women. Women would
you can't
usually
fake
be
it until you make it.
Yeah, you would usually be a little bit shy, or a little bit, stepping at the back until you see how people are engaging with you. And it's not the way moving forward anymore, and I think women have changed in the past period, that you see them now very confident, and I would say sometimes even more confident than male, and they step up and they speak for themselves and they talk about their rights and they negotiate and they put their powers there. In the industry and in the workplace, I think that women came a long way, but I do think that there are so many missing rights that we do not speak about, and everyone is so silent when we all speak about diversity, inclusion, equality. Well, do we really think today women do have the full rights and are really equal and included? I would say yes, they came a long way, but no, we still have a long way to go. Because today, if I work, I'm expected to be working, performing well in my job, and taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, taking care of my husband if I'm married, and so on. But
and still earning less than a man.
Earning less than a man. We look at the gender gap pay, and we still see a huge gender gap pay happening till now, specifically in the tech industry as well. Number two, you also see that there are so many the management or the industry or the businesses expect so much from us, and we have so little to do because we do have a personal life as well that is not as heavy as men do have, right? So also when we look at, for example, today businesses should look at putting childcare for women, because we work, right? And we do have children to look after. So we really need to balance this. But again, with all these challenges, and I can speak forever, look at women today. They stand their grounds, they work, they take care of their kids, they raise proper kids, and they do everything at home. And I think they do amazing. So
definitely women do amazing. And I grew up with a great mom who also was like this working woman who I can do everything woman. I like, she was trying to raise the best kids and does the best school, make sure she spends time with us. And I think, like, thinking from that lens, one thing is importance of women having empowered at the workplace, but also we men should support women at the household in order to make sure that women gets enough time to spend for themselves and for their well-being. And I think that was one of the missing points when today after pandemic, we talk about everyone coming back to the office and spending that 8 hours in the office, where companies and workplaces aren't enough equipped for the childcare. They don't pay women enough for that. They don't pay men enough for that. And I think like after this pandemic, even it was like very hard for us, we all learned how to spend time with our families and this quality time, and we realized that actually the businesses could run, virtually through the online calls and emails. What do you think, Sarah, like Lubna, you both of you, like, do you think like still being like 8 hours in the office is important, or we can run this world online? Because I know that in many countries still women doesn't have that liberty or opportunity to travel to the workplace, but they do have internet at home, or through blockchain technologies, even if they don't have access to the banking system, they can accept payments.
I think what we see now, luckily I find pushed through the pandemic, there's a different way of work culture, and even especially in the Web3 and crypto space, remote working is very high and popular. And I think this gives also an easier entry. It gives lower entry barriers to women to enter that, because if you have remote working, you still can manage better family. But what is important, I think, it's to find the balance. So depending again on the company size, the company culture, does it make sense to get fully remote or to keep a balance? I think it's great to have sometimes this face-to-face interaction, really to keep that team spirit, but also to give the opportunity to your colleagues and your team to be flexible, because everyone has a different family situation. Sometimes we lose so much time on the road, like with traffic. So there are a lot of things where we can be more efficient if we work either from home as well. So I think, I'm glad that the pandemic actually pushed through this culture.
I think the pandemic actually empowered women because it gave us more space to manage work, life, kids, house together. So you're sitting with your laptop and actually I would say this from my own experience. I used to work longer hours. I used to be more productive. I used to be more efficient, more effective with the projects when it was the pandemic, because I did feel the freedom of, you know what, I'm putting the laptop now off and going to the kitchen, cooking something quickly and coming back. So instead of me compressing all the work at 5 and having to rush back and leave the office and rush back home because picking this my kid from the school or so, I now can distribute my working hours to longer period of time, and then this also matches well and works well when you work with different time zones. So for example, we work with more than 36 countries all over the world, and the time zone was such a pain previously. After the pandemic, it is more easy because you do get the hybrid opportunity of working from the office and working from home as well. So I think it empowered women on different levels. But going back to your question, is companies is it the right decision for companies to go back and like work from
Especially
home
you
remotely?
run your own company. You tell us, like, do you prefer people under your eye, under your watch, or you think you trust your employees to work from where they are at?
Well, it all depends. So it depends on the team itself. It depends on the level of experience. It depends on the work they have, and it depends if they really need to meet clients or meet up together or brainstorm. It depends. But honestly, for me, I do not care where they sit. I do not care where. As long as they are connected remotely and they're delivering the job and we're meeting timelines, I do not care. Today, I'm telling you, from Dubai office, we're serving more than 36 markets all over the world. And it's happening. I don't even see clients there. I connect with them on Zoom or on Teams, right? So, and the work is happening and things are moving smoothly. So I think it's more about the mentality and the culture, as you said, of the company as well, and trusting in each other, supporting each other as well. Definitely gives us this push to move forward.
And we were talking about women and how empowered they are at the workplace. But I used to work with you, Lubna, and I several times saw you mentally not break down, but have a hard time while juggling the work, family, and also having male bosses who don't understand this all the time. Like while we were talking how great things are, maybe we can also have this tough talk about where do you think like men doesn't get women, especially at the workplace?
I think I will go back to the first thing that I said at the very beginning of this talk. It's all about the analysis. So I think sometimes I get challenged with men, with how they analyze things. It's not only about women, me as a person as well. I'm very straightforward and I'm very data driven. So if we put a plan together, we put a plan, we put KPIs, we put deadlines, we meet this, right? So when I sit with you and we look at the plan and we say, this is the KPI, it is met in this timeline, then we tick and check the boxes. You cannot go back and tell me, but this point was not done in this date. Yes, because it doesn't match the plan we have, right? So I think it's also how male and female, and I wouldn't generalize, not specifically gender-wise. I think my challenges at that time were, number one, how the analysis of business were done from both parties, me and them. Number two, I think it was more about the culture, the need of everyone sitting on a desk just because of sitting on a desk. I don't think this is how business works. Specifically now, we've been through the pandemic after that, and we've seen how businesses evolve, right? And it doesn't work like this. So I think it was just not right for my mindset, and this is not where I wanted to work and proceed with my career. And yes, I did collapse at many times and I did break down at many times. I always say I used to run to the toilet and cry and come back. And yes, so many times where women would really break down, but maybe they don't show. Like we would be strong enough to sit and look in your eyes and tell you this works and this doesn't work for me, but then leave the room and go cry in the toilet and come back.
But I'm very curious, like how this hardship like shaped you, because today you own your own business, you are kind of your own boss. Like as a woman, is it easier to start a business? I'm sure it is not, but like how is it to be your own boss versus being employed?
When you hit rock bottom, I think this is where you really, really grow rocket. So when I hit rock bottom at that time, I did not like where I was staying, and I felt like I don't belong here. With no plans whatsoever, I put my resignation on the table and I said, I don't belong here, guys. I love you so much, but I don't want you to invest more time, money, efforts in me. And I think this is not the right place for me. And I stepped out of the company. At that time, I was speaking to Sif Sawaf, whom is the CEO of the company. I was so lucky because I did not start a business from scratch. This company was already in operation in the market of Egypt for 14 years. And I just stepped in as a shareholder and a partner to grow the business from Egypt to Dubai. So I'm in charge of the international business happening in Dubai. And we opened up the branch here in Dubai. And today, after 5 years, this was a 5 years journey. And today, after 5 years, I would say that it was such a success. It was the best decision I've done in my life because today the business has grown. We're serving more than 36 markets all over the world. We're introducing a lot of technologies, solutions, and we're strategizing businesses, automating how businesses operate as well. And we have so many success stories. So I think I was lucky enough to step in a business and not to, start a business from scratch. But I would also give myself credit that with my experience, my knowledge, and living here in Dubai for the past 12 years, I was able to grab the business from operating only in the Egyptian market to operating today in the 36 markets as well. I have to mention that I was so blessed to work with my boss, who is an amazing person, Sif Sawaf. He's the CEO of the company. And I have to tell you that I did have a completely different experience. I found a boss that could really mentor me, support me, understand me, listen to the decisions that I do and understand where I come from, but also support me on a personal level, understanding that I am a single mom. I do have a kid to look after. And he was very flexible when it came to working from office or working from home and so on. So I think all this together builds you up. And again, I would go back and say when you hit rock bottom, you grow rocket based.
What about you, Sarah? Like, do you think like men were triggered by the successful woman? Because you are a successful woman, like, have you had this experience? Because I also know that you have a very great male mentors in the industry who push you forward. Like, what was this like kind of a balance where people are triggered by your success and also there are people who want to support you?
I think the beauty is what you also mentioned, Lubna, is if you have your support system, especially in direct work environment, you have a role model that pushes you. And I think we inspire each other. Even I feel like having man and woman in the work culture is like yin and yang, right? We complement each other as well. Right. And sometimes it's nice also to have a healthy competition, like with other peers in the industry. So, but I really want to say also is if you have your support system and also having this awareness, like awareness of what, for example, with your, what do you need right now for your career, or what can you contribute to your team? Like having the awareness, being aware of potential gender bias is so crucial, right? Like in our industry. And but I have to say, I think it's if you find your support system, your role model that guides you, it brings you really, really far. Yeah.
Do you have like a female role model in the industry that you look up? Maybe not like a direct mentor, but like someone you really admire and someone you're like, okay, I really want to be like this. And who is that person, or why is that person?
Actually, I have to laugh. It's actually Kathy Wood. She's CEO of ARK Invest, also a very big figure in the also blockchain industry. I love her boldness. She's really sharp in her analysis, very bold, very successful. And I really see her as a great female figure, yeah. So,
what about you, Lubna? Do you have one? Or you are your own role model? I look at the mirror kind of a woman.
I have to say, yes, part of it, yes. I look at myself now as the role model I wanted when 20 years back, right? I wanted to be exactly where I stand now. And I still have plans to go and I still see opportunities to grow. But if you ask me this question, I would tell you no, my role model actually was a male. And my role model, I can tell you a lot of public figures, but to me personally, my role model was my mentor, Mohammed Johmani. I used to work with him in an agency previously in 2015. And he was such a great model of how he empowered. I think I am the person who I am today only because of him. He gave me the first push. Okay, so he was the owner of the company, and at that time I was managing the business as well. And I remember he used to put me on speaking opportunities, TV interview, Lubna, you go. There is a women award, women leadership award. Then we're gonna put Lubna. So he was really pushing me, and I didn't know how to speak at that time. I was like, chill on me because I don't know what to say, what to do. But
you were given the opportunity and you grabbed it.
I was. I worked so hard to understand how to speak, right? Today I do public speaking in some events as well, speaking about technology or women or different topics. But it took a toll on me because I wasn't like that. And surprisingly, it was a male figure who pushed me to do this. And I'm so grateful for him. In every opportunity I get a chance to mention his name, I would mention his name and I would say, thank you, Mohammed Johmani, for...
Then can we safely say that like we need to give women more opportunities, then they will definitely grab it and take over, and like everything kind of starts with the opportunity? or
Absolutely, but also women fight for their own opportunities. It's not only giving them, we fight for our opportunities. There were so many situations that I can talk about myself, and I'm sure Sarah can do the same. But there's so many opportunities where you get challenged and you get boundaries and you get like, this is a roadblock, you cannot go there. And we fight for ourselves and we speak out loud and we say, no, I can do this. Give me the opportunity to go there and do it. And of course, on the other side, yes, also we need to be given the opportunity, and we need male and communities and societies and governments to believe in us, to believe that women could really do the job. And I think we're going there, right?
We are going there. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to the talk. And it was me, your host, Usizadeh.